Asalamu Alaykum. Today I am going to share with you the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, Christian called him as Joseph, was the beloved son of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, who also called by Christian as Jacob, who also had 11 other sons. Benjamin, who was the youngest son, was from the same mother as Yusuf, while the rest were older brothers are from different mother. They are Yusuf's step-brother, or you can call them as a half-brothers. Yusuf is still a young boy, awake one glorious morning, delighted by a pleasant dream he just had. He ran to his father in excitement and said, "Oh, my father, indeed I have seen 11 stars and the sun and the moon. I saw them prospering to me." Yaqub alayhi salam was overjoyed at the realization that his dear son was indeed chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be boosted with prophethood. However, Yaqub alayhi salam was concerned about his older son's possible reaction to this narration, for even though he treated them equally, they harbored jealousy towards Yusuf alayhi salam. He therefore warned Yusuf against relating his dream to his brothers. Yaqub alayhi salam told Yusuf alayhi salam not to tell his other brothers about his dream. With the time, the malice in their hearts of Yusuf brothers kept growing. They invade Yusuf alayhi salam because they felt he was special and they are not. Unable to handle their emotions, they devised a plan to get rid of Yusuf alayhi salam by throwing him into a well. So one day they approached their father and asked whether Yusuf alayhi salam could come out with them to play. With a very hesitant heart, Yaqub alayhi salam said, "Indeed, it saddens me that you should take him, and I fear that a wolf would eat him while you are of him unaware." Surah Yusuf, ayat number 12 by 13. But the older brothers insisted their father that they would take extreme care of him and that Yusuf would enjoy by himself. The next day, Yusuf alayhi salam set off with his brothers. They traveled far in pursuit of a wild deer, enough to throw their brother in. When they finally reached the well on the pretext of drinking water, they led him to it, grabbed him, and removed his shirt. Yusuf alayhi salam began to struggling and pleaded with them to let go. The brothers eventually Yusuf alayhi salam struggling and pleaded with them to let go. The brothers eventually threw him down the well and rushed back to home. The brothers ran to their father, crying with Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt that was shimmered with sheep blood. They cried, "O our father, indeed we went racing with each other and left Yusuf alayhi salam our possessions and a wolf ate him." Surah Yusuf, ayat 17. Yaqub alayhi salam was suspicious of their story. He in his heart believed his son was still alive and that the brothers were likely entitled by Shaitan to do evil. He remarked that the wolf was indeed merciful to have eaten his son up without tearing his shirt. He bore the bereavement with patience and prayed for his son's safe return. Meanwhile, Yusuf alayhi salam managed to chilling to stone lid, and he prayed. He prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him salvation. Soon caravan so a caravan bound for Egypt stopped at this well to fetch water. The water drew Khalid up his bucket, and he was shocked to see the boy to the rope. The caravan people immediately pulled him and took him along with them to Egypt. The word quickly spread throughout Egypt that a very handsome and good-looking boy was to be auctioned. This news spared the interest of the wealthy and very big people, eager to see if the rumors were true. The auction went wild with bids rapidly. Ultimately, he was sold to the highest bidder, who was the none other than Al-Aziz, the chief minister of Egypt. Yusuf salam, new master, who had no children, was completely taken with Yusuf salam. He told his wife to take good care of Yusuf salam, and they could either use him as a slave or perhaps even adopt him as their son. Yusuf salam not only grew up to be a handsome young man but also blessed with exceptional knowledge and wisdom by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is narrated in the famous hadith when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended to heaven during the night journey. He went through the gate and entered third heaven, where he saw Yusuf alayhi salam, who was said to have been given half of world beauty. Sahih Muslim. The Quran also reflects on Yusuf alayhi salam, and when Yusuf reached maturity, we gave him judgment and knowledge, and thus we reward his honesty and simplicity captivated the heart of Al-Aziz, who entrusted Yusuf salam to be in charge of his household. It was during his period of Yusuf salam was confronted with his second trial. Zuleika, Al-Aziz's wife, watched Yusuf day after day, her feelings intensifying to get the point of obsession. Overwhelmed by her desires, she became desperate to fulfill them. One day, when her husband was away from home, she closed the doors and invited Yusuf salam to her. Yusuf salam, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and replied, I seek refuge in Allah. Indeed, He is my master, who has made good my residence. Indeed, wrong orders will be not successed. He returned away and ran towards the closed doors to escape. Zuleika chased after him in desperation and grabbed his shirt from the back, which caused it to rip. The door opened and Al-Aziz entered. Ashamed, she ran to him and cried, What is the recompense of the one who indeed evil for your wife, but that he be imprisoned or a painful punishment? Surah Yusuf, ayat 23. Yusuf salam was shocked. He continued to deny his master's claim and saying it was she who was trying to seduce me. Surah Yusuf, ayat 26. Al-Aziz was a fair man. He was confused and unsure of whom to be believed, so he consulted his wife's cousins for advice. He said, if his shirt is torn from the front, then she has told the truth, and he is the liar. Surah Yusuf, ayat 26. Though Yusuf's innocence was proven, Al-Aziz apologized for his wife's indecency and swore Yusuf salam to secrecy. Nevertheless, the story of Zuleika's pursuit spread. Other women began to talking and gossiping against Zuleika. Zuleika was distressed. She planned to prove to them her helpless reaction to Yusuf's extraordinary handsomeness. Hence, she invited those women to a banquet at her residence one day. There she served them fruit along with knives. When the women were happily chattering away while slicing the fruits, Zuleika summoned Yusuf salam. The women looked up at him and astonished at such angelic beauty. They cut their hands without realizing they had. Zuleika said the moment to announce that this was the man for whom she was blamed. She then warned Yusuf salam that if she denied her again, he would be imprisoned. To which Yusuf replied, My lord, prison is more to my liking. than that to which they invite me. Surah Yusuf, Ayat 33. That night, Zuleika convinced her husband that the only way to safeguard her honor and his prestige was to imprison Yusuf alayhi salam. This was a tough decision for Al-Aziz. He knew of Yusuf alayhi salam's innocence and believed him to trustworthy, but nevertheless, he agreed with his wife, thus Yusuf alayhi salam was unjustly imprisoned. Yusuf alayhi salam years in prison. During Yusuf alayhi salam time in prison, he was bestowed with the ability to interpret dreams. Around the same time, two other men were sentenced to prison. The first one was compared to king, and the other one was the king's chef. Yusuf, sailors mesmerized by his beauty, sought out him to have their dreams explained. One dreamed that he was serving the king wine, and the other was carrying bread on his head, which two breads were eating up. Yusuf alayhi salam entirely called them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then interpreted, "O two companions of prisons, as for one of you, he will give drink to his master of wine, but as for the other, he will be dead, and the birds will eat from his head. The matter has been decreed, about which you both inquired." Surah Yusuf, Ayat 41. And he said to the one he knew would go free, "Mention me before the king." Surah Yusuf, Ayat 42. But Shaitan made him forget the mention to his master, and about Yusuf alayhi salam remained in prison for several years. Still, he made patience his own and spent those years in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The king has a dream. One day, the king of Egypt had an odd dream. He summoned his men and said, "Indeed, I have seen 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 that were lean, and 7 green sticks of grain, and others that were dry. Please explain me my vision if you should interpret my vision." Suddenly, the man who served wine to the king of Egypt, he just remembered about Yusuf alayhi salam, who immediately remembered his companion in prison, informed the king of Yusuf alayhi salam and his impossible dream interpretations. The king sent his servant to prison to meet with Yusuf alayhi salam and inquire about this particular dream. Yusuf alayhi salam was overjoyed at the sight of his companion and knew that this was indeed the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He narrated to him, "You will plant for 7 years consecutively, and what you harvest, leave in its stakes and expect a little from which you will eat. Then will come after that 7 years, difficult years, which will consume that what you advance saved for them. Expect a little from which you will store. Then will come after that a year in which the people will be given rain, and in which they will press olives and grapes." Surah Yusuf, Ayat 47 to 49. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, based on the dream, understood that there was going to be a famine in 7 years that would last 7 years. He advised the king to take immediate action to start harvesting and storing those food supplies. Yusuf alayhi salam consulted that this preparation would be crucial to make sure there's enough food available for everyone. Furthermore, he gave the good news that the following year would be a year of abundance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bearing rainfall allowing the year. Convinced by Yusuf alayhi salam's interpretation of dreams, the king ordered to meet him in prison. However, Yusuf alayhi salam declined to leave prison before his innocence was established. He instead on a fair trial to defend his honor. So the king summoned the women involved in the incident. Among them were the women who cut their hands, and they spoke of Yusuf Alayhi's innocence before the king, saying, Allah forbade, we know about him no evil. Surah Yusuf, Ayat 51. The wife of Al-Aziz was trapped. He confessed to the king. Now the truth has become evident. It was I who thought to seduce him, and indeed he is truthful and innocent. Surah Yusuf, Ayat 51. Though Yusuf a.s. innocence was proven, released from prison, Yusuf a.s. stood before the king, thanked him for his generosity. Yusuf a.s. greatly impressed the king. After losing his freedom and being falsely imprisoned for many years, he was not angry, seeking revenge. He composed and showed the noblest of qualities. Because of this, the king felt comfortable appointing Yusuf a.s. to a high position. Yusuf a.s. asked if he could be made the storekeeper over a storehouse across his land. He wanted to be controller over the stores where the food are stored and endure the long famine. It was not out of self-interest but personal responsibility. He failed to make sure people would not die due to shortage. Yusuf a.s. harvested and stored crops during the 7 years of fertility. Then, as predicted, come the years of famine that also reached the household of his father Yaqub a.s. in Canaan. Yaqub a.s. sent all his sons except Benjamin to Egypt to purchase some food. Yusuf a.s. immediately recognized his brothers and provided for them, but they did not recognize him. Why would they? To them, Yusuf a.s. had passed away long years ago. Yusuf a.s. casually inquired about their family. The brothers said, "We are 11 brothers, the children of a noble prophet. The youngest is at home, tending to the needs of our aging father." In a sudden rush of emotion, tears welled up in Yusuf a.s. eyes. His heart heavy, longing for home to see his father and younger brother Benjamin. Struggling to regain his composure, he managed to ask, "Are you truthful people?" Confused, they replied, "What the reason should we have to state an untruth?" Yusuf a.s. informed them that if they brought Benjamin back with them the next time, he would reward them with double rations, but if they failed to do so, he would limit their rations. He wanted to make sure they would fulfill his command. As an additional precaution, Yusuf a.s. ordered one of his servants to put their money back in their bags so that when they returned home, they would have enough money to return and purchase more. When the brothers returned home, they told their father, saying, "Oh, our father, we have been denied further supplies. So send our brother with us so that we may receive our rations, and we will definitely watch over him." Surah Yusuf, Ayat 63. Yaqub a.s. was tensed. How could he trust them when they had failed him? Travel with Yusuf a.s. After some time, however, their needs pressure Yaqub a.s. to send Benjamin with them for more rations. He took their soul man oath to safeguard him. Yaqub a.s. then prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to safeguard their living. Fallahu khairun hafizanu wa hawa ar-rahmanur rahimin. Allah is the best protector and is the most merciful. Surah Yusuf 12:64. Yusuf a.s. returned with his brother. Yusuf a.s. welcomed the privileged guests and invited them to feast. With great difficulty, he withheld from immediately embracing his younger brother. Yusuf al-Islam showered his guest with his gift and hospitality. Afterward, Yusuf al-Islam arranged for Benjamin to lodge in a room with him alone, where he disclosed, "Indeed, I am your brother." 12:69. Benjamin was overjoyed and swung his arm around his older brother. As they were about to leave, the king's solicitors closed the gates and stopped the brothers. They informed them that the king's cups had gone and missing. "By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have certainly known that we did not come to cause corruption in the land. We have not even thieves," the brother protested. 12:73. The solicitors pursuing the matters further inquired about the consequences if the thief was among them. With confidence, the brothers responded that if one of them was found guilty, they should offer themselves as slave to the owner of the stolen cup. The brother believed that this would be just to lend oneself over as property to the owner, just as thieves had taken their property. During the search, the cup was found in Benjamin's bag. The solicitors told, "O caravan, indeed you are thieves." Shock and disbelief struck the brothers. Thoughts of their sick brother at home and their promise to protect Benjamin at any all cost. They didn't think much. The brothers knew that their father loved Benjamin very dearly, and he was a means of relief since losing Yusuf al-Islam. They worried the loss of Benjamin would completely devastate their father. They begged the solicitors to release their younger brother to take one of them instead, but the solicitor refused. The eldest among the brothers said, "I will never leave this land until my father permits me or Allah decides for me, and he is the best judge." Surah Yusuf, Ayat 80. So the rest of the brothers left Egypt, leaving the eldest behind. Yusuf alayhi suffers patiently. When they returned home, they broke the news to Yaqub alayhi. "Oh, our father, indeed your son has stolen, and we did not testify except to what we knew, and we are not witness of the unseen, and ask the city in which we were and the caravan in which we came, and indeed we are truthful." Prophet Yusuf faced the grave situation with the grace of a true believer, seeking any kind of peace. He returned to prayer, placing his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plan. "Perhaps Allah will bring them to me all together. Indeed, it is He who is knowing that wishes." He hoped for the safe return of his youngest and eldest sons, who remained stuck in Egypt. Yet this news loosed his enduring grief for Yusuf alayhi. Turning away in sorrow, he cried, "Oh my sorrow, over Joseph's." It is said that in his sadness he cried so much his eyes became white from grief, which led to his blindness. His condition became so bad, the brothers began to worry about his health. They warned Yaqub alayhi, "By Allah, you will not cease remembering Joseph until you become fully ill, or become one of those who perish." Surah Yusuf, Ayat 85. In his steadfastness, Yaqub alayhi responded to his sons, saying, "I am only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I know from Allah that which you do not know." Commentators believe that in saying this line, "I know from Allah that which you do not know," was expressing his belief in the goodness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He anticipates that Yusuf alayhi is still alive, that the vision he conveyed to him when he was young would still hold true. Yaqub alayhi salam then respond, "O my sons, go and find out about Joseph and his brother, and disappear not of belief or from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, no one disappears of relief from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except disbelieving people." They returned to Egypt. The son returned to Egypt once again. They met Yusuf alayhi salam and pleaded that tragedy had fallen them. Yusuf alayhi salam then spoke to them in their native language. "Do you know what you did with Yusuf and his brother when you were arrogant?" Surah Yusuf ayat 89. It didn't take long for the brothers to realize that this was indeed their long-lost brother, and they began to tremble in fear. But Yusuf alayhi salam comforted them and saying, "No blame will there be upon you today. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the merciful." Surah Yusuf ayat 92. He then said, "Take this shirt, my shirt, and cast it over the face of my father. He will become seeing and bearing me, your family altogether." Surah Yusuf ayat 93. As instructed, the brothers cast Yusuf alayhi salam shirt over their father's face, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala miraculously restored his eyesight. They asked their father to seek Allah's forgiveness for them. Together they all set off to Egypt, where Yusuf alayhi salam warmly welcomed them. Yusuf alayhi salam raised his elderly father upon the throne. He said, "O my father, this is the explanation of my vision of before. My Lord has made it reality, and He was certainly good to me when He took me out of prison and brought you here from Bedouin life after Shaitan had induced evil think between me and my brothers. Indeed, my Lord is subtle in what He wills. Indeed, it is He who is the knowing the wishes." Surah Yusuf ayat 100. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite wisdom and mercy brought about the reunion of father and son after many of years of separation, in a beautiful fulfillment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree. The surah, which began with Yusuf alayhi salam prophetic dream, concludes with reaching the point where that becomes a reality. Yusuf alayhi salam makes a dua to his creator, thanking him for all his blessing. Rabbi kad ataitani minal mulki wa allamtani min tawilil ahadis fatira samawati wal ardi anta wali fid dunya wal akhirati wa tawaffani muslim wa alhiqni bisalihin. English translation of this dua: My Lord, you have given me something of sovereignty and taught me of the interpretation of dreams, creator of the heavens and the earth. You are my protector in this world and in the hereafter. Cause me to die a Muslim and join me with the righteous. Surah Yusuf. Let's take a brief summary of this story. Prophet Yusuf knew from his dream that he was destined for greatness, but it seems at every turn of his life he was met with difficulties and adversity. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold as slave, and unjustly imprisoned. Yusuf could have chosen to be better and questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying, "I thought you had ordained for me greatness." He could have easily complained and asked, "Why do these things to keep happening to me?" But he knew better. He knew Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a great plan for him, and he had just to keep faith on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf focused on being the best he could, treating people right with respect and dignity, and doing more than what was requested of him. If he did his part, He knew Allah would take care of him. He was taken away as a child and grew up not knowing his family. And despite these odds, he grew to be a man of noble status, respected by all those who meet his, from all Aziz to the women who cut their hands, and to the king. They all admire Yusuf alayhi salam for his excellent qualities. It's a lesson that circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. It's also noteworthy to mention that the story of Prophet Yusuf holds a unique place in the Quran. He is the only prophet to have this story told chronically within a single surah titled Surah Yusuf. Contrast this with the stories of the other prophets, which are mentioned in different surahs, are curious piecing together. We strongly recommended reads to listen and follow along with the translation of Surah Yusuf, as it beautifully recounts the entirety of the Prophet Yusuf journey. There was certainty in their stories, a lesson for those of understanding. Never was the Quran a narration invented, but a confirmation of what was before it, and a detailed explanation of all things, and guidance and mercy for a people who believe. Surah Yusuf, Ayat 111. Allah Hafiz everyone.